3. To Stella, Zeehandelaar, November 6th, 1899. Certainly, Stella, I cannot thank my parents enough for the free bringing up which they have given me. I had rather have my whole life one of strife and sorrow than be without the knowledge which I owe to my European education. I know that many, many difficulties await me, but I am not afraid of the future. I cannot remain content in my old condition, yet to further the new progress I can do nothing. A dozen strong chains bind me fast to my world. What will be the outcome? All my European friends ask themselves this question. If I knew myself, dear people, I should tell you with pleasure. All can see that the situation is critical for us, and then they say that it was a mistake for my father to give me the education which I have had. No, not on my dearest father lies the blame. No, and again no. Father could not foresee that the same bringing up which he gave to all of his children would have had such an effect upon one of them. Many other regions had given to their families the same advantages that we have had, and it has never resulted in anything but in native young ladies with European manners who speak Dutch. There is no help for it. Some day or other it will come to pass, must come to pass, that I shall have to follow an unknown bridegroom. Love is a will-o'-the-wisp in our Javanese world. How can a man and woman love each other when they see each other for the first time in their lives, after they are already fast bound in the chains of wedlock? I shall never, never fall in love. To love, there must first be respect, according to my thinking, and I can have no respect for the Javanese young man. How can I respect one who is married and a father, and who, when he has had enough of the mother and his children, brings another woman into his house and is, according to the Muslim law, legally married to her? And who does not do this? And why not? It is no sin, and still less a scandal. The Muslim law allows a man to have 4 wives at the same time. And though it be 1,000 times over no sin according to the Muslim law and doctrine, I shall forever call it a sin. I call all things sin which bring misery to a fellow creature. Sin is to cause pain to another, whether man or beast. And can you imagine what hell pain a woman must suffer when her husband comes home with another, a rival, whom she must recognize as his legal wife? He can torture her to death, mistreat her as he will. If he does not choose to give her back her freedom, then she can whistle to the moon for her rights. Everything for the man and nothing for the woman is our law and custom. Do you understand now the deep aversion I have for marriage? I would do the humblest work, thankfully and joyfully, if by it I could be independent. But I can do nothing, less than nothing, on account of Father's position among our people. If I choose to work, it would have to be at something fitting. It is only work for pleasure which would not be a disgrace to my noble and highly placed family, a chain of regents from Java's eastern coast to the middle. Why did God give us talents and not the opportunity to make use of them? My 2 sisters have studied drawing and painting, and without any instruction have made fair progress, according to those who know. They would go gladly on with their studies, but here in Java there's no opportunity, and we cannot go to Europe. To go there, we should have to have the consent of His Excellency, the Minister of Finance, and that we have not. We must depend entirely upon ourselves if we wish to go forward. Oh, Stella, do you know what it is to long for something so intensely and yet to feel powerless to obtain it? Could Father have done so, I do not doubt he would have sent us without hesitation to your cold and distant land. I draw and paint too, but take much more pleasure in the pen than in the pencil. Do you understand now why I am so anxious to obtain the mastery of your beautiful language? Nay, do not contradict me. I construct it after a fashion, but I understand my limitations all too well. If I could learn the Dutch language thoroughly, my future would be assured. A rich field of labor would then lie open to me, and I should be a true child of humanity. For you see, I, as a born Javanese, know all about the Indian world. A European, no matter how long he may have lived in Java and studied existing conditions, can still know nothing of the inner native life. Much that is obscure now and a riddle to Europeans, I could make clear with a few words. I feel my powerlessness all too well, Stella. You would burst out laughing if you could look over my shoulder and read this little sheet of paper. What a crazy idea of mine, is it not? That I, who know nothing, have learned nothing, should wish to venture upon a literary career? Still, though everyone else should laugh at me, I know that you will not. I would not think that for a moment. It is indeed a desperate undertaking, but he who does not dare does not win, is my motto. Forward! Dare mightily and with strength. 3/4 of the world belongs to the strong. You ask me how I came to be placed between 4 thick walls. You certainly thought of a cell or something of that kind. No, Stella. My prison was a large house with grounds around it. But around those grounds there was a high wall, and that held me a prisoner. Never mind how splendid a house and garden may be if one may never go beyond them. It is stifling. I remember how often in dumb despair I would press my body against the fast-closed gate and the cold stones. Whatever direction I took, at the end of every walk, there was always a stone wall or a locked door. Of late, Mevrouw Ovink often says to me, Child, have we done well to let you come forth from the high walls of the Kabupaten? Would it not have been better if we had let you remain there? What will come of it now? What of the future? And when she sees us drawing and painting, she cries, full of distress, Dear children, is there nothing else for you but this? No, the fortunate thing, the best thing that could have happened to us is that we 3 were thrust out into the light. Luckily, I am optimistic by nature, and I do not quickly let my head hang. If I cannot become what I so much desire to be, then I would rather be something, if only a kitchen maid. You will think now that I am a genius in cooking. My family and friends need not worry about my future. Do you not agree with me? For a good kitchen maid is always in demand and can always get along. The official salaries in Holland seem small compared with those in India. Yet they are always complaining here about the small salaries. In India, too, one is entitled to a pension after 20 years' service, and the clergy after only 10 years. India is an El Dorado for the officials, and yet many Hollanders speak of it as a horrible ape land. I get so infernally mad when I hear them speak of horrible India. They forget all too often that this horrible ape land fills many empty pockets with gold. A change will come in our whole native world. The turning point is foreordained. It is coming. But when will it be? That is the great question. We cannot hasten the hour of revolution, for it is only we who have rebellious thoughts in this wilderness, this dark, distant land, beyond which there is no land. My friends here say that we shall act wisely if we do nothing but sleep for 100 years. When we awakened, Java would be more as we would have her. Work among the people of India, I know. Mevrouw van Zuylen-Tromp sent father the book, hoping to arouse his interest, but he would rather interest himself in a book about the native woman. I had thought of that myself. I have much to tell about Javanese women, but I am still too young, and I have had so pitifully little experience with life. The cause for which I would speak is to me too earnest and too sacred to be approached lightly. I cannot write now as I wish, but I know that when I have suffered more, it will be different. After a few years, I shall have had a more comprehending insight into much that I would know, and many thoughts that now run darkly through my brain would have grown clear. I cannot tell you anything of the Islamic law, Stella. Its followers are forbidden to speak of it with those of another faith. And in truth, I am a Muslim only because my ancestors were. How can I love a doctrine which I do not know, may never know? The Quran is too holy to be translated into any language whatever. Here no one speaks Arabic. It is customary to read from the Quran, but what is read no one understands. To me, it is a silly thing to be obliged to read something without being able to understand it. It is as though I were compelled to read an English book, and the whole thing should go through my head without my being able to comprehend the meaning of a single word. If I wished to know and understand our religion, I should have to go to Arabia to learn the language. Nevertheless, one can be good without being pious. Is that not true, Stella? Religion is intended as a blessing to mankind, a bond between all the creatures of God. They should be as brothers and sisters, not because they have the same human parents, but because they are all children of one Father, of Him who is enthroned in the heavens above. Brothers and sisters must love one another, help, strengthen, and support one another. Oh God, sometimes I wish that there had never been a religion, because that which should unite mankind into one common brotherhood has been through all the ages a cause of strife, of discord, and of bloodshed. Members of the same family have persecuted one another because of the different manner in which they worshipped one and the same God. Those who ought to have been bound together by the tenderest love have turned with hatred from one another. Differences of church, albeit in the same word God is spoken, have built a dividing wall between two throbbing hearts. I often ask myself uneasily, is religion indeed a blessing to mankind? Religion, which is meant to save us from our sins. How many sins are committed in thy name? I have read Max Havelaar, though I do not know Wijs mi die plaats waar ik gezaaid heb. I shall look for it, for I think very, very much of Multatuli. I will tell you another time of the position of the people and of the ruling classes among us. I've written too much already, and that is a subject which demands no small space. What do we speak at home? What a question, Stella dear. Naturally, our language is Javanese. We speak Malay with strange people who are Easterners, either Malays, Moors, Arabs, or Chinese, and Dutch with Europeans. Oh, Stella, how I laughed when I read your question. Would your parents disapprove if you should embrace them heartily? Why, I have yet to give my parents or my brothers and sisters the first kiss. Kissing is not customary among the Javanese. Only children of from 1 to 3, 4, 5, or 6 are kissed. We never kiss one another. You are astonished at that, but it is true. Only our young Holland friends kiss us, and we kiss them back, and that has only been recently. At first we loved to have them kiss us, but never kissed them in return. We have only learned to kiss since we have been such friends with Mevrouw Ovink. When she would embrace us, she would ask us to kiss her. At first we found it queer and acquitted ourselves awkwardly. Does this seem strange to you? No matter how much I should love one of my Dutch friends, it would never come into my head to kiss her without being asked. You ask why? Because I do not know whether she would like it. It is pleasant for us to press a soft white cheek with our lips, but whether the possessor of that pretty cheek also finds it pleasant to feel a dark face against hers is another question. We'd rather let people think us heartless, for of our own accord we would never embrace. If, as you say, I am in no way behind many Dutch girls, it is principally the work of Mevrouw Ovink, who used to talk to us as though we were her own sisters. Intercourse with this cultured, well-bred Dutch lady had a great influence upon the little brown girls. And now Moestje knows very well that though time and distance separate them, the hearts of her daughters will always belong to her. Father had promised us, in reality Mevrouw Ovink made him give his word of honor, to let us go to Jombang. Mynheer Ovink will take us there by and by. We love them so much, and have so much love for our father and mother. We miss them sadly. I cannot even now realize that they are actually gone from us. There was so little restraint between us. We lived all the time so cordially together.